So graphing circles, really looking at the equation that creates a circle. So we're going to go two ways. We will build an equation from information, and then we will be given an equation, and we'll undo the equation to find information. So there's two pieces of information that we need to find the equation of a circle: the center and the radius. If we have those two pieces of information, we can create an equation. Or if we have an equation, we can find those two pieces, the center and the radius. So this is our standard form of a circle. All right? And the biggest thing that you have to be aware of is that these are minuses. And they're always minuses. So if I'm going to give you an equation of a circle, and I say the center of the circle is at 0, 0, and the radius is 1. We're going to plug that information into the equation. So it's x minus h, which is the x coordinate of the center, and y minus k, which is the y coordinate of the center. So our x value is h, our y value is k. That is going to haunt you in Algebra 2. H and k are x and y. That is the center of your graph. So I'm going to take this h and k, and I'm going to plug it into this equation. X minus 0 squared plus y minus squared equals r squared. That is the equation. That's it. I just have to simplify it. X goes, or h goes here, k goes here, r goes here. And I'll simplify it. What is x minus 0? Huh? X minus 0. X squared plus y minus 0. Y squared. And then what is 1 squared? 1. Guess what? That's the equation that graphs a circle at 0, 0 with the radius of 1. Interesting. Okay. I think it's really weird to use that 0, 0, but we're going to keep practicing it. So, this is the first one in your notes. It says, write the standard equation of a circle. It has a center at 0, 0, and it has a radius of 4. So what I end up doing is I end up writing the equation, and I leave out h, k, and r. So I say x minus something squared plus y minus something squared equals r squared. And I know this is h, this is k, and this is r. So I took this equation, and I'm going to fill in my blanks for what I'm missing. So my center is hk, and this is my radius. So what is the h value? The k value? The r value. So now I'm just going to simplify. X minus 0, x. And what is x squared? X squared. Plus y minus 0, y squared equals, what is 4 squared? 16. So that equation is a circle centered at 0, 0 with a radius of 4. Yeah? No? Maybe? All right, a little bit different now. I have the center, and it's not 0, 0, but I have a point that it goes through. So, what's my h value? Huh? 0, 2. Uh-oh. So now my radius is always the distance from the center to the outside of the circle. So really what I have is a circle. The center is at over 0 up to. There's the center of my circle. And there's a point on the circle over 3 down 2. So my radius goes from the center of the circle to the outside of the circle. Uh-oh. So a radius is the distance from the center of the circle to the outside of the circle. So I have to use these two numbers and use the distance formula to find r, the length of the line from the center of the circle to the outside of the circle. The distance of the circle is x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. That goes back to like a long time ago when we did the distance formula. So once you have this, you can type it in your calculator and get a number back. Or you can do it by hand. So 0 minus 3 is negative 3 squared plus negative 2 minus 2, negative 4 squared. So keep mathing inside the radical. Negative 3 times negative 3, 9, plus negative 4 times negative 4. Add 9 and 16 together. 25. And then the square root of 25 is 5. So your radius is 5. Using the distance formula to find the distance from the center of the circle to the outside of the circle. So all that work to figure out what is our r value? 5. So now I'm going to take this blue equation and simplify it. What is x minus 0? And x squared? Now, can you do y minus 2? No, so that is simplified. We just write it, y minus 2 squared. You don't have to do anything to it. And what is 5 squared? So this equation is centered at 0, 2, and has a radius of 5. It's almost easier when there is a number value for the center because you don't have to do any simplification. You just write it down and you just keep going. Alright? So a little bit of extra work there to go through the distance formula and find the distance from the center to the outside. It's easier when it's on a graph because you can just count it from the center to the outside of the circle. Alright. We're going to write down my equation and we'll fill in the blanks. I'm just going to use this equation and fill in x, k, and r. X minus something squared plus y minus something squared equals r squared. Looking for h, k, and r. So what is your h value? 2. What is your k value? -4. And then what do we have to do for our r value? We have to do the distance formula to find our r value. So x2 minus x1, or x2 minus y2, x1, y1, and we're using the equation, the distance formula, x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. That is the distance formula. So x2 minus x1, 6 minus 2 squared, plus y2 minus y1 squared, which is -4 minus -4. I wrote that wrong. So 6 minus 2, 4. -4 minus -4. -4 minus -4. 0. -4 plus 4. 0. So I have the square root of 4 squared. What is 4 squared? 16. Right? What is the square root of 16? 4. So what does your radius equal? 4. Hey dummies. Hey dummies, look at this. Over 2, down 4. Over 6, down 4. What's the difference between those 2 points? 4. On a graph, it's a straight line. I just counted 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it was 4 units over. It was a flat line. If you saw it, you could have done that. So clean it up just a little bit now. What is x minus 2 squared? Can you simplify anything there? Can you simplify anything there? No. So you just copy it down. X minus 2 squared plus y minus -4 squared. Can you simplify anything there? The only thing you can simplify is change both negatives to a positive. So now it becomes y plus 4 squared. And then 4 squared. 16. So if you have an equation of x minus 2 squared plus y plus 4 squared equals 16, it has a center of 2, -4, and it has a radius of 4. All right. What's different now? It's on a graph. So we need 2 pieces of information to generate an equation. We need to know the center, and we need to know the radius. All right, so if you go look at your graph, 2, 4, 6, 8, -2, -4, -6, -8, what are we counting by? 2's. So how do I get to here? -2. How do I get down here? So the center of this circle is at -2, -4. Back to down 2, but the graph counts by 2's. So the center of my circle is -2, -4. That's not bad. I can just look at the graph and pull the point off the graph. Now the radius. It tells me this is a point on the graph. Can you just count that? Yeah? 2, 4, 5. Because it goes over 2, and then over half a box, which is 1 unit, or 5. So what's my radius? 5. So it's hard because the graph counts by 2's. And I can, not a big fan of graphs that count by 2's, but I can hopefully clean it up a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I went over 1, 2, down 1, 2, 3, 4. I can split these boxes in half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All because that graph has boxes of 2. So now I need to take this information, my center and my radius, and plug it in to this equation. X minus -2 squared plus y minus -4 squared equals 5 squared. That's filling out the equation. All I have to do now is simplify. What is the simplified version of x minus -2? X plus 2. What is the simplified version of y minus -4? Y plus 4. What is the simplified version of 5 squared? Easier with the graph or more complicated with the graph? I think it's a little easier, but I don't like the fact that the graph counts by 2's. All right, last one here. Hey, this graph counts by 1's. Yes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right? See on the last one how it went from like 2, 4, 6, 8. Is it, if I count 1, 2 right here, does that say 2? No. So that's what you have to kind of figure out what the steps are. 2, 4, 6, 8. It's tough, right? And that tricks you guys a lot on your tests. So in this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, I know it counts by 1's. So I can count -1, -2, +1, +2, +3. The center of that circle is at -2, +3. Now I need to count for the radius of the circle. I can just count it. How far is it from here to here? 1, 2, 3. So the radius of the circle is 3. Take this information and plug it into that formula. X minus -2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals the radius squared, or 3 squared. Simplify. X plus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 9. That's the equation that describes the circle on the graph. So the only thing I did here was change this 2 negatives to a positive, and then I squared 3 and got 9. Everything else was just kind of copied down. Alright, so I'm going to pause for a second. I'm going to give you guys your homework assignment. We're going to go through half of it together, and then you'll be responsible for the other half. All right, so at this point, 7th period, we get their homework assignment out and prepare for the magic to happen. Ready? So we're going to do all the evens because I feel like some of you guys just can't even today. Yes. Today's the last day for win. There's no win on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday.
You said if we're not going to do Thursday, we have time on class Friday.
Yeah. So on tomorrow, what? No, there is win today, but there's not win tomorrow. So tomorrow, like at 9:20, if you have a pass to go watch the basketball game, you'll leave. If you don't have one, you'll stay in here. It is what it is. If you have like, I don't know, what is it, like $2 hairs to go watch the game? I don't know how much the basketball tickets cost. And if you have the $2, you can buy a ticket at the door. Otherwise, you'll just stay in here and chill with me. All right, so on our homework, let's look at number 2. It says, just tell me what the center of the circle is and tell me what the radius of the circle is. So we need to find the center and we need to find the radius. Yeah, it's a little weird, isn't it? There is the equation. What is the center and what is the radius? So let's take a step back for a second. The center of this circle is at 0, 2, and it says minus 0, minus 2. So notice that both of these numbers are positive, and it says both of these numbers are negative. So the center of your circle is the opposite of what's written in the equation. That's where we get to that point in Algebra 2 where we say insiders lie. So it says the center is at negative 2, negative 7, but what is it really? Positive 2 and positive 7. The radius is r squared. How do you undo r squared? So what is the square root of 49? So it's the opposite of what it says and take the square root of r. It's just weird. All right, let's try it again. It says the center is at positive 3, negative 11, but where is it really? Negative 3, positive 11. Insiders are lying to you. That's the center. Negative 3, positive 11. And then what do you do to that r value to figure out what r really is? Take the square root of it. Square root of 12, right? It's not a whole number, so just leave it as the square root of 12. Otherwise, I have to make you do this. And you guys don't want to do that, do you? So just leave it as the square root of 12. Right? When we went on this one, it was a nice value. That makes you happy, 7. But for this one, you don't know what it is, so just leave it the square root of 12. I'm okay with that. All right. Same thing as how we started. It says the center is at 4, 3. The radius is 8. Please build an equation. So taking the turning wheels off, help me build the equation. X equals 8 squared, aka 64. You guys are like pros now. You're graphing circles around circles. Get it? Build your equation. X minus negative 2 That's filling out the formula, right? Now we can go through and simplify. Dramatic pause. The square root of 2 squared is 2. The square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 4. The square root of 4 is 2. The same reason that the square root of 4 plus the square root of 4 equals 4. And the last one, the one that you guys hate. It gives you the center, but it gives you some random point, and you have to use the distance formula to find the radius. So we can start with the distance formula. X1, Y1, X2, Y2, and we're trying to fill out the distance formula. X2 minus X1 squared plus Y2 minus Y1 squared. Two minus 5. Nine minus 9. 0. So negative 3 times negative 3. 9. 0 times 0. 0. So what is the square root of 9? So 3, the radius equals 3. Okay, same thing. If the y values are the same, how do I get from 2 to 5? It's over 3 units, right? Because the y value is the same. So I have a center, I have a radius, and to build my equation, x minus 5 squared plus y minus 9 squared equals 3 squared. What's the only thing I can simplify? The 3 squared. What is 3 squared? There you go. That's half of your homework done. So I'll leave you with the last 15 minutes to do the other half. Pretty easy. You have lots of examples to draw from. I did hopefully some of the harder ones. It's 5 questions. Tomorrow we'll start the review. Remember, if you do the review, you get the square root curve on your test. That's how you turn a 60 or like a 44 into a 70.